Asteraceae, more commonly known as the sunflower or daisy family, is one of the largest families in the flowering plants alongside orchids and legumes. It is represented here by a common ornamental, the chrysanthemum. They are one of the most familiar plants to encounter due to their vast dispersion around the world in nearly every habitat. They have even been found in Antarctica, likely as an invasive species. There are approximately 1,620 genera and more than 23,000 species of Asteraceae. They are most abundant in semi-arid and tropic regions ranging from the coast, prairies, deserts, and even mountain snowcaps. The growth form is generally annual or perennial herbs and shrubs. However, there are some vines, small trees, and very rare aquatics. You are out in the field and you seek to identify an Asteraceae. What do you look for? A helpful fact to know is that all Asteraceae are dicots, actually the largest dicot family. This means they have netted leaf veins and have flower parts in multiples of 4 or 5. An example would be the Mexican flame vine, where you can see their veinous leaves, but the easiest way to identify an Asteraceae is by its flower, or more so, its collection of florets. The flower head is identified as a capitulum, made of 2 kinds of florets, rays and disc flowers. You can see the individual florets in the drawing, as well as the 5-lobed corollas of the florets in the zoomed image of the sunflower. Excuse me. You can see the sunflower has many tiny yellow fuzzies around its outer center. This is actually pollen on the elongated style received from the tubular anthers. This structure will be discussed more in depth soon. The stigma is unreceptive, so that pollinators like insects or wind can spread the pollen to other plants. After its receptive period for cross-pollination, the stigma curls down toward the surrounding anthers to ensure seed production by self-pollination. Disc flowers are usually found in the center region of the capitulum. They are actinomorphic, meaning they have radial symmetry. They have 5 lobes of tubular corolla, often looking like a star when viewed from above. Disc flowers are usually perfect, meaning they have both male and female reproductive structures. Ray flowers are usually surrounding the disc flowers on the outer margin of the capitulum. They are zygomorphic, meaning they have one plane of symmetry due to their ancestral corolla connation. They are imperfect and can be sterile or pistulate, meaning they have no reproductive function or are female. The disc and ray florets are all on one common receptacle attached to the peduncle. In addition to these florets, there are involucre, which are protective involucral bracts, small bristle-like structures interspersed between the disc florets. They are also called filaries, scales or leaf-like structures around the ray florets. Filaries can be seen here on this solely ray floret, Sonchus asper, also known as the spiny sow thistle. It takes a more in-depth dissection to view the more minuscule involucral bracts for most species. The arrangement of bracts can often aid in identification of genus. Besides corolla shapes, there are some other unifying characteristics. Asteraceae is epigynous, meaning they have inferior ovaries, where sepals, petals, and stamens arise from the top of the ovary. In addition to a single oval per floret, the gynoecium are 2 united carpels with a single style and 2 stigmatic lobes. The androecium, usually among the disc florets, consists of 5 stamens and are fused or have connation around the style. This is a synanthrous condition where stamens are fused around a style like a tube. Being an angiosperm or flowering plant, Asteraceae can produce fruit, specifically achene fruit. Achene fruits have dry pericarps, are indehiscent, so do not split open when ripe, and the seed coat only attaches to the pericarp at a single point. In this image, you can see the dry pericarp alongside a sunflower seed. The pointed edge on the single spot is the single spot where the seed attached to the pericarp, known as a funiculus. To disperse their seeds, Asteraceae have developed a modified calyx called a pappus. A well-known modified calyx can be found on the dandelions. The pappus is plumus-like structure, or a parachute that helps the seed disperse in the wind, as well as aiding in burrowing in the ground. Anemochory, or wind dispersal, is common among Asteraceae with fine hair-like pappus, and the drawings here show the diversity the structures can take. Other common forms of dispersal is epizoochory, in which the seed or entire capitulum form hooks or spines that attach to the vectors like animals for transport. A Swiss engineer took notice of these spiny Asteraceae cocklebur seeds attached to the clothes of his dog's of his clothes and his dog's fur by bristles on his hunting trips, which gave him the inspiration for inventing Velcro. Asteraceae is a dicot family, and you can see in context to the other angiosperm families, there are monocots, dicots, and basal angiosperms. Calcaraceae, restricted to South America, is represented here by Calcaraceae calyptra, and is the closest family to Asteraceae. Asteraceae, represented here by Zinnia, became a separate species when it lost its terminus flower and cyme units, which is when the main axis is immediately terminated by branching flowers. You can see the morphological separation when comparing the given pictures. Evidence has supported South America as the area of origin for Asteraceae, with dispersal in North America, then to Asia and Africa, and still spreading worldwide today. There is difficulty in examining their evolutionary history due to the abundant documentation of hybrids in the Asteraceae family, which lends to their uses in crop production for food and oil and ornamental garden necessities and lofty economic flow of weed extermination.
The Zinnia elegans, or Zinnia violacea, is a common garden plant that is perfect for that summer garden. The plant itself has a hairy, stiff stem with oval-shaped leaves that are arranged opposite of one another and are often seen clasping the stem of the flower. Zinnia flowers come in a range of appearances, from a single row of petals to the dome-shaped variety. They contain both disc and ray florets, but no papas. These flowers come in a variety of colors, as you can see. In fact, they come in all bright and pastel colors, not including blue. Along with beautiful single colors, these flowers can also come in multiple colors, like bicolor, tricolor, or even crazy quilt color. And these are represented by this flower here in the upper left-hand corner. They range in heights and are essential butterfly magnets for gardeners. Because they are low maintenance and can withstand heat and drought, they are often used as easy ways to add pops of color to any garden. Zinnia is known as the cut and come again flowers because of the ability to produce new flower buds shortly after cutting the flowering stem above the leaves.
The Cynara variatus scalamus is a species of Asteraceae that's edible. This species is better known as the globe artichoke. This plant is a columnar perennial vegetable which has lobed, jagged green leaves and thistle-like flowers. The buds of this plant are edible, however, once the flowers blossom, the plant is no longer edible. This plant is multi-flowered, meaning each layer of the artichoke, which is edible and shown in these pictures, is its own flower. The globe artichoke is a vegetable which is high in vitamin C and fiber. The Cynara originates in the Mediterranean, but production of this species has been imported to California, which is sometimes referred to as the artichoke capital of the world. The Mediterranean produces 770,000 tons of globe artichokes each year, which is about 60% of the annual global production. This makes a significant contribution to the local communities and economies of this region. The Cardamus tinctorius is an Asteraceae species that's primarily used for oil. This plant has disc flowers and jagged green leaves. The seeds of this plant, shown in the picture to the right, are crushed and oil is extracted. This plant is multi-flowered and self-pollinating. This species is better known as the safflower, and the oil from this plant is used for cooking and cosmetic skincare. The main benefits of this oil in terms of food are that it is a good source of fatty acids, it fights inflammation, and is able to be used for cooking at high temperatures. In terms of skincare, it smooths and moisturizes skin. In addition to these uses, this plant was also originally farmed for use in red and yellow clothing dyes, though it's mainly not used for this purpose any longer.
Not all members of Asteraceae are friendly to humanity. Pictured here is the local menace Canyza canadensis, commonly known as horseweed. This particular horseweed is in its reproductive stage, in which it shifts from its leafy vegetative phase to adopt a large panicle shape with loose branches of numerous small heads. You can also see that this plant is producing papae, which facilitate anemochory, or reproduction via wind dispersion. This weed can grow up to 6 feet tall and is commonly seen along roadsides, but is also a problem to local cotton farmers, as it is infamously one of the first weeds to develop resistance to Roundup. Another weed killer, dicamba, has been used to control the horseweed population, but is currently presenting an issue as weeds are appearing to die from it, but coming back to kill cotton crops after they have been planted. This is a huge concern to the cotton farming community in Alabama, and a threat to the state's economy as a whole, as cotton is our most profitable export.
Asteraceae members are all around us, and their influence on the economy as food products, oils, ornamentals, and even medicinal and industrial uses that unfortunately could not be touched upon in this video shows their expansive importance today. So now when you tell your friends and family members about your new mind-blowing facts about Asteraceae, please refrain from shoving dandelions into their jaw-dropped mouths. Thanks.